Welcome to Lesson 3 of How to Start World Building. By now, you've already captured your big ideas, like your genre and your vision for your setting. You've defined your active world building area, and you've chosen the rules of your world, the special properties of your setting, and how it's different from our Earth. That means you're ready to start defining the places your characters live in more detail, the regions, cities, and buildings where your stories will take place. In this lesson, you'll be building 10 new articles in your world, developing the geography of your setting. But don't worry, you won't be writing pages of prose. You're going to build each one up in simple bullet points. So grab your hammer and let's world build. To start with, here's the 10 article checklist we're world building today. 1 natural law or technology overview, 1 general geography of your area, 2 wonders, 3 settlements, and 3 buildings or landmarks in one of your settlements. And of course, I'll unpack each of these to help you along. Number 1, your world's natural and supernatural laws. Last lesson, you wrote a little about how your setting is different from our Earth through natural and supernatural laws, or through technology. This is the magic, the midichlorians, the superheroes and cybertech, or the faster-than-light travel that you wrote down in your meta section in Lesson 2. If you didn't add any unusual supernatural laws or technologies in the rules of your world, go straight on to the next section. Otherwise, it's time to explore the rules of your world in more detail. These are the questions you'll be answering. How localized or global are the effects? Does it only affect a small region or everywhere? Is there an epicenter of the effect? Does it only happen at certain times? Does it create secondary effects like volcanic eruptions or heat waves? For technology, is it available everywhere or only in some places? Are there any regional side effects of the technology, like pollution or disturbed energy? How does it look or manifest? This is important. It's how you'll describe the effect to your players and readers. You have the option to go big and dramatic with the effects here, or you can make them subtle, creeping, and insidious. It really depends on the chosen genre, tone, and audience experience. Dig into the senses here too for a rich, immersive description. How does it affect plants and animals in your world? Have they evolved ways to survive or even thrive based on this thing? What problems or benefits does it create for your peoples? For example, does your magic only work for some people or for everyone? Can a negative world rule, like magical storms, be manipulated for positive effect? And vice versa, can a seemingly positive effect create negative consequences? For technology, how does it change people's lives? Does it have applications or effects for medicine or weapons or defense, agriculture or communication? So your first assignment is to answer these questions in an article. First, click the plus article creation at the bottom right of this screen, and select either technology or a supernatural law, whichever fits best with your concept. If you created multiple laws or tech ideas, you should create an article for each one. Next, give your article a title, then answer the questions to elaborate on how your world rule affects the setting you've created. I suggest you answer each question as a header and a bullet point beneath. So publish your article when you're done. If you get stuck creating your article, check out the extra resources section of this lesson, where I walk you through how to create articles on World Anvil and guide you through each assignment with examples. Now pause this video and go answer the questions with bullet points. Remember to unpause when you're ready for the next step. Number 2, a general geography of your area. Next up, it's time to describe your geography in more detail. Consider the following questions. What are your non-Earth-like geographical features in your setting? If in Lesson 2 you added geography rules of your world that are different from Earth, multiple moons, flying islands, or post-apocalyptic nuclear wastelands, you need to develop those in more detail. These will affect your geography a lot, so establish them first. You'll be answering the same questions as for supernatural laws. How localized or global are the effects? How does it look or manifest? How does it affect plants and animals in your world? And what problems or benefits does it create for your peoples? If you didn't add unusual geographical features, you'll still need to answer the other questions to develop your setting, but you can skip these. Now, what's the general lay of the land of your active world-building area? Is your region flat, or does it have rolling hills and mountains, rivers and lakes? Are there deserts and coastal areas? What challenges do these geographical features create for life here? In space, are there vast nebulas, asteroids, or black holes? And what is the climate or environment like in your active world-building area? Is it baking hot, temperate, or icy cold? Are there seasons, and how much does the temperature and weather vary? Mention any extreme weather phenomena too, and any challenges the weather creates. In space, this might include solar flares, ion storms, and other astral phenomena. Next, what is the ecosystem and habitat like in your active world-building area? Is it largely barren and empty like space, or is it rich and with wondrous creatures like the Dark Crystal? What kinds of life thrive here, and how do they overcome the challenges of the climate and the geography? Be sure to mention any animals that are important for your genre premise. For example, dragons, space whales, giant sandworms, mutated animals, and the like, and add where they might lurk. Finally, what natural resources are found in your active world-building area? Is it rich in metal ores, fish, wood, spice, marble, or radioactive materials? What's found abundantly in nature here? This will be important for the next lesson. For your second assignment, start by creating your geography article on World Anvil. Click the plus article button at the bottom right and choose the geography template. Title your geography article with the name of your active world-building area. For example, the Gamma Quadrant, Middle Earth, Eberron, or Night City. Select the type of your active world-building area from the drop-down. Geography templates on World Anvil are used for everything from a small oasis to a galaxy and beyond. Finally, answer the questions we just walked through to develop the geography of your active world-building area. Use headers for questions and bullet points for your answers to keep things brief and easy to edit. Publish your article when you're done. Now, pause the video and go world build. Unpause when you're ready for the next step. It's time to talk about maps, but only if you want to. Some world builders rely heavily on maps when starting their world, and others use them only occasionally, if at all. Both ways are totally fine. It's up to you. If you're very visual, it might be helpful to start sketching out a map of your active world building area, now that you know more about its geography. It doesn't have to be a beautiful work of art. I made my first map on Microsoft Paint. It only has to help you visualize your region. Once it's done, upload it to World Anvil as an interactive map. Then you can pin all your new articles and ideas, like the settlements, wonders, and important places you're just about to create, to your map. This will help you visualize how all your world building fits together. So, as an optional assignment, sketch a map of your active world building area. Upload it to World Anvil as an interactive map. Then, add markers for any of the important locations you mentioned in your geography article. As you create more landmarks, settlements, and even geopolitical organizations like countries and empires, add them to your map to keep your world updated. Number 3 and 4, landmarks in your world. So now you've detailed more about your world building area, it's time to ramp up the wow factor. And nothing does that like some awesome landmarks. Here are some ideas for landmarks for your active world building area. These could be natural landmarks or man-made, like a spaceship graveyard or a huge ancient statue. How wild and inventive should you be? Well, refer to your genre, tone, and mood, and the rules of your world for inspiration. A dark and gritty world should have dark and gritty landmarks, or perhaps once hopeful landmarks that have fallen into decay. A high magic world might have more unusual or extra landmarks than a low magic setting. For your third assignment, create 2 building landmark articles. Use the plus article button and select the building/landmark template. Give your landmark a title. You can also select the type of landmark from the drop-down menu. Then answer the following questions for each of your 2 landmarks, using headers and bullet points. How does this landmark look and feel? Don't just describe it visually, use senses and emotions. Does it feel unnaturally cold or eerily calm? Is there a strange scent or celestial light around the place? How was it created? For example, was it formed by magic or lightning storms, or even people from your world's history? What special properties does it have? That might be inherent properties like lakes of acid or dead magic deserts, or they might be physically extraordinary, like mountains that reach up through the clouds, or crystal blue lakes the size of seas. Consult your genre and the tone of your world to create something that adds to the feeling of your setting. What can and can't survive here? Is there a vibrant ecosystem around this landmark? Or do eldritch forces destroy all life here? Don't forget to publish your article once you're done. And, optionally, if you uploaded a map, add interactive pins to it and link them to your new articles. Pause now and unpause when you've created your 2 landmarks. You've got a good understanding of the space you're telling stories in. Now it's time to build some settlements. Settlements are the heart of civilization in your setting, and they're often the heart of our stories too. They can be places to trade, hubs of industry, and beacons of justice and learning. In dark settings, they're also prone to be hives of scum and villainy, exploitation and disease. Either way, they're an important feature in your world. Here are the questions you'll be answering about each of your cities. If your active world building area is the size of a city, create either smaller settlements like suburbs, satellite villages, or mining colonies on its outskirts, or create independent districts inside your main city. What's the name of your settlement? This will be the title of your article. City names can be tricky, so if you're stuck, try using a random generator to get ideas going, or start with a placeholder name that you can change later. How big is your settlement? A rough guide, like a small city, metropolis, a generational ship of thousands, is specific enough. I recommend you create the most important settlements, which are usually the larger ones like cities. But in some settings, like Fallout, there's nothing bigger than a town, and most settlements are even smaller. Use your genre as a guide. What's the purpose of this settlement? Did it start as a port, or a mining colony, or a military stronghold? Is it the center of trade where many roads come together? Or an industrial city because of nearby resources and transport? Or perhaps it was founded for religious or magical reasons. For outer space settings, consider creating a generational ship, a space station, an asteroid mining facility, a research lab, or maybe an important political city like Coruscant in Star Wars. What's the surrounding geography like? Refer to your new articles you just created as your example. For example, they might be close to wonders that you just made to take advantage of them, or far away to avoid the fallout. Is your city straddling the mouth of a river for trade access, or carved in the side of a mountain for the iron, or in the middle of grain-rich plains? How does your city survive any challenges that the rules of your world present, as well as challenges from the surrounding geography, weather, and climate? Next, what's the tone or vibe here? Your settlements are an important expression of your genre and tone. Are they squalid or glowing? Is life abundant, sacred, or considered worthless? For example, if you're writing a grim-dark fantasy, the streets might be crawling with demons after dark, and overwhelmed with a gross, slimy fungus. For noble, bright fantasy, though, maybe you have ancient marble cities built by the elves, which glow like beacons of hope in the moonlight. Or for a more complex world, you might have a stratified city, with gleaming wealthy districts contrasting with squalid slums. What does a roof and a meal look like? This creates an idea of everyday life in your settlement. What are the buildings made of? What do people eat? Is the quality of life luxurious, comfortable, or desperate? And how much does it vary? Refer back to the natural resources you described for the region for ideas, as well as your setting's tone. Are you ready for assignment 4? It's time to create 3 settlements. For each of your 3 settlements, start by creating a settlement article on World Anvil. Then answer the following questions for each city. Try to vary your answers so your cities feel different from one another. What's the name of your settlement? How big is this settlement? What's the purpose of this settlement? What's the surrounding geography like? What's the tone or vibe here? What does a roof and a meal look like? Use headers for the questions and bullet points for your answers. And don't forget to publish your articles once they're completed. And finally, if you've uploaded a map, add interactive pins for each settlement you created. Whatever your choices, make sure you stick to your genre and tone, but vary your 3 cities in other ways, maybe by geography or purpose or size. This will make your setting feel diverse and interesting, but all part of the same universe. And if you get stuck, check out the extra resources I've added for this lesson. Several of them are about creating cities. Pause now and start city building. Unpause when you've created your 3 settlements and you're ready to go on. Congratulations! You've created so much for your setting already. Are you already starting to envision your world? Here's some even better news. You're almost done for today. For the last step of this lesson, you'll dig deeper into one of the cities you just created and build 3 buildings in it. To get you started, here are some ideas for important buildings in your city. I've split the list into fantasy and science fiction, but there's a ton of crossover. For example, a fantasy teleportation circle could easily be re-envisioned as a sci-fi teleporter hub. Consider which buildings will be useful for the kinds of stories you like to tell, or will give extra character to the city you've chosen to develop. So for your final assignment, create a building article for each of your 3 new buildings. In each article, answer the following questions. What's the name of your building? You'll need this for the title of your article. A placeholder name is fine for now if you're not sure, and I've linked some resources to inspire you too. What's the purpose of this building? What is this building for? What happens here? What kinds of people come and go? How does this building look and feel? What is it made of? Is it pristine and shiny or run down and decrepit? Describe the building in terms of senses and emotions too. Chances are the buildings you're creating are special for some reason, so don't be afraid to dial it up to 11 and be a bit extra. Under Parent Location, select the city that your buildings are in. Don't forget to publish your articles once you've completed all the questions. Now pause this video and get world building. Remember to unpause when you've created your 3 building articles. All finished? Then that's a wrap. Congratulations on creating your first 10 articles in your world. Your geography is shaping up beautifully with landmarks, settlements, and even some important buildings. If you want more advice on world building geography, check out the supporting information for this lesson. And I'll see you in the next lesson, where we'll be breathing the spark of life into your world building with people. Now grab your hammer and go world build.